I'm a minus fifth generation farmer because you've got to go back 5 generations anywhere in my family to find somebody who was actually farming. So I'm starting from scratch. I spent 30 years as a patent lawyer. Toward the end of that, I thought that it would be a good idea to own a piece of farmland, and I was fortunate enough to buy this property here in Sheridan. My vision for this farm when I bought it was that it be organic, self-sufficient, self-sustaining, and enjoyable to be on. It was a conventional farm growing grass and wheat for seed, and quite far from that vision. After a few years of renting the farm to a young couple, when they left, there were quite a few piles of chicken manure located just a few hundred feet uphill from the stream that flows through the middle of the property. This was the end of August, and the rains start at the end of September. I knew that this was going to be a problem, and I knew that I'd be in real trouble if I let it happen. I needed help, and I didn't know what to do. I called the NRCS office in Dallas and explained my manure problem.
When the NRCS and Pryor first connected, it was through an emergency situation on his farm. He had just gotten it, and there was a large manure pile that he, as a beginning farmer, had no idea what to do with. The NRCS gave him some technical advice and pointed him in the direction that he needed to go to get that taken care of.
I didn't have a contract or any relationship with them. This was a cold call, but they were wonderful in giving me some advice because their solution worked. There was no pollution, and I had the single best crop of triticale I will ever have. But I enjoyed working with them, and they obviously knew what they were doing. I became convinced that a number of the practices that NRCS's EQIP program includes would be good ideas for me to attempt on my farm.
We really try to meet them at the level that they're on. We really had to establish what their equipment is, what their capabilities are, and where they're at.
They suggested that as a new farmer working a field for the first time, I adopt some of the practices in their EQIP program, like conservation covers, cover cropping, nutrient management. And that was the basis of the first contract. It worked really well. I learned a lot from NRCS.
When we first met with him, he was really interested in pursuing an organic farming operation. It was a new program that we had, and so it took a little bit of work for all of us to figure it out. But over time, we got a successful project completed here.
One of the things that I needed to do in crop rotations was to plant crops that required pollination. I was fortunate that we had some bees on the property already, and we were part of the Oregon Bee Project, and we knew that we had a lot of native bees on the ground. I needed to ensure that they had the resources they need.
One of the first projects we worked on here, we sat down and we looked at the soil, we looked at his goals and objectives, was to design a hedgerow around his field.
The first is just booming, but it also acts as a physical barrier to help prevent drift if my neighbor's spraying gets out of control.
We brought other new farmers out here to Pryor's property to see some of the projects that have been done. For example, the pollinator hedgerows has been a very good success here.
The NRCS, the Soil and Water Conservation Districts, other organizations are absolute gold mines of knowledge and information that will benefit them.
We try to connect the dots. There's a lot of resources available to farmers, especially new and beginning farmers, that they just may not be aware of.
Most of those organizations know the other organizations as well and will cross-refer if there's a better source of knowledge or expertise.
We'd really like beginning farmers to reach out to the district so we can help solve those problems before they become insurmountable problems for a new landowner. Beyond the cropland, we've worked with him to preserve his white oak habitat, thinning the oaks to promote the health of the stand and removing invasives.
My vision of an organic, sustainable farm means it has to be there in the future for my children, for their children, for our friends and family who love to come out here. And to do that, I need help. I can't do it with just what I know because I'm learning as I go and things are changing. For new farmers, beginning farmers, especially those who are coming to it without a background in farming, I would make sure that you realize that you're investing in soil. You're investing in the ground, and it is a big investment. And it takes money, it takes your time, and mostly it takes your love.